This review is of the Infurider YF6000GH. I recently purchased this product off of Amazon, and here it is right here, and tested it on my by using it with fans that I have to find out how accurate it was and so on and so forth. Now, before I get to that part, I just wanted to show you the features that they offer. You can put it on a tripod because there's a hole at the bottom that's threaded. You can lots of different applications for it, at least in theory. It has 8 vanes, clear LCD backlight, sensitive smart multi-touch screen. They're talking about this, not this. It is sensitive, but I would not say it's super sensitive, so you don't have to really be concerned about accidentally making a key press. You do have to press it with enough intention that it registers the key press. Then you can reach, it's got a rechargeable battery, and on the back side there's this port. It's actually covered with a piece of rubber, so you have to move the rubber aside. That's what that hole is for. That's kind of like the hinge for the rubber. And you can just plug that in so you can charge it. It comes with the cable. It does not come with the charger though. And these are some of the functions that you can enjoy. Current maximum, you can have it set to show the maximum RPMs or the minimum RPMs. Or the meters per second or whatever. I'm sorry, not RPMs, but meters per second or CMM or CFM or miles per minute or whatever it is. Wind speed measurement, air temperature, both in Celsius and Fahrenheit. It has several different units that it can do. So meters per second, kilometers per hour, feet per minute, knots, miles per hour. It also shows the Beaufort scale. So that number here, right there, is the Beaufort scale. This number here is going to be the temperature. You can set it to turn off automatically, or you can disable that function. You can hold the data. You can enter the air volume area that you're working with, and then you can measure airflow after this is set. You cannot have this, you cannot do airflow and if this is set to 0. So that's most of the stuff that's interesting about this. The only thing that is really left to tell you is what I learned while using this product, right? Oh, it's a very, very hot morning and the sun isn't even up. So, first of all, I got this on sale for under $44. It's for under $40. It's currently selling at the regular price of $45 on Amazon. I don't know if it's sold anywhere else. I would imagine it's on AliExpress, but I don't trust AliExpress. And also AliExpress sells a lot of very questionable products that are rip-offs. Would you like it like this, with lots of light on my ugly face, or would you like it more like that? Would you put it in the comments how you feel about the lighting? I can't do anything about the glare from the screen, really. Other than do that, then I can't really read anything, but I can't really see my face very clearly, but there's no more of the weird lighting thing going on, right? Okay, so I digress. Alright, so let's see. Aside from the price, in terms of accuracy, okay, I did not notice any inconsistency in the readings. It seemed to be very accurate. Now that's pretty amazing given I've tested more expensive products that were not accurate. However, the vane does not seem to be... Well, there's something wrong with it. First of all, there's a slight imbalance of the vane. Now, when I say vane, I mean the propeller, like this thing here is the vane. That's the industry term. Okay, you and I might look at it and say it's a propeller, but it's called a vane. This is called a vane anemometer. as opposed to a hot wire anemometer or bulb anemometer. Oh, sorry, not bulb anemometer. I forgot the other ones. But anyways, not important. I'm going to start digressing too much. So there's a slight imbalance in the vane, and it's not a major one. However, even small imbalances in the vanes, the blades, or hub can result in problems. And I did notice that because I was actually comparing it against this one, which is the one I'm going to keep. I had really wanted the Infurider. I mean, really, because I wanted one with a rechargeable battery. I like having a rechargeable battery. I do not like having to replace batteries every so often, and I'm going to buy rechargeable batteries for this puppy because I just hate the idea of filling up landfills with batteries that have been used once. I find it very aggravating, and I know that the industry deliberately makes a lot of products that could run without a battery, but they make it so that it has to have a battery, and I don't like that. I think that's, for many reasons involving the environment and our health, and also financially, I think it's wrong. But I'm digressing yet again. I'm sorry. Okay, so when you have an imbalanced vane, what ends up happening is it's not going to spin perfectly around the hub. Now, one of the good things about this particular vane is it is not attached to the hub in that the hub turns with it. No, it rotates around the hub, and that's good. Now you're thinking, well, gosh, it's going to rub against the hub. Yes, it'll rub against the hub. That's true. However, you want it to not be dependent on the hub to turn, because the hub having to turn will produce more friction than if it's just rotating around the hub. Okay? However, because of the imbalance, what's going to happen is it's going to rub more than it would if the vane was balanced. Now, and I observed this, especially at high speeds. What I noticed was there was a clattering noise coming from the vane. And I haven't seen that with the other anemometers that I've tested. Especially not the hot wire, because it doesn't have a vane. But, yeah, it was... I had not expected that to happen. I've heard other noises, like this one makes a whine when it gets to a high speed, like, you know, say 2,000 or above RPMs. But I was like, wow, it's actually clattering a bit. So that was one indicator that there was excess friction because of the imbalance and the imbalance. But also, when what I did is I used this on 4 different fans and also the Infurider on 4 different fans, and I compared the results. And the results from the Infurider were typically below the results of this one. I don't know. I would say the name, but I don't know how to pronounce it. It's like YF6000GH or something like that. I don't know. So the Infurider's results tended to be hundreds lower, or, well, not hundreds, but it tended to be lower in terms of the results. So I was not getting close to the actual figures for the fans that I was testing. I was testing a Noctua, a triple A wave, then a Deep Cool, and an Akasa, to see the difference between them, which one's more accurate. So that was disappointing, because that killed it for me, because I needed to give as accurate as possible the results. I did have another problem too. Now, when you want to use the airflow measurement function, you have to first enter the area function, or the area information, which is basically you just measure the area within what you're working. Now, I was not working within any area. I was doing it in open air. So, and the instructions, I've never seen instructions that say this is what you should do for the area if you are measuring the airflow, but there is no area because you're doing open air testing. So I just looked at the maximum that I could set this one to, which is, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is 9.999. And then I set the Infurider to that maximum as well. Because I wanted to compare them on a one-to-one basis as to what the results were going to be. I didn't want to have to mess around mathematically with altering the results so that they would be one-to-one. So that was, it was good. I thought to do that, but what was bad was I was doing some additional testing on the features because I was going to do this review and I forgot. But what I noticed was suddenly I had entered, of course, the 9.999 on the Infurider for the area, and I was going back in there, and I was actually writing up a comparison because I wanted some input from people, because at that point I hadn't noticed some of the problems with this device. And when I got to the area function and I was going through to see what was the minimum, what was the maximum on it, because I couldn't remember off the top of my head, I discovered, number one, the maximum is supposed to be 9999, but I could not set it to 9999. I had trouble with that. And then the other problem was when I set it to 999.9, it changed the second 9 to a 2. And then, so I tried to reset it, so I went into the area function and it was set correctly. So I just exited out and it reverted to 9299, whatever it was. There was a 2 where the 9 was supposed to be in the second position. And so I went back in and I tried, I was messing around with it again, and I changed it to 9.999. When I exited the setup, it changed it to 0.999. I was like, what the heck? What's going on here? It was fine before, now it's doing this crap. So because I couldn't trust the area function to work correctly, because the vane being imbalanced was causing problems with the readings not being at the speeds that they were supposed to be at, I was forced to return this otherwise decent product. And I think, if you're not doing like comparison testing, you just need to, and you don't need like really high accuracy, this is going to be okay for you. But if you really need to know what the actual velocity and airflow, say in an HVA system, is, then this is not going to be, at this point in time, an appropriate device for you to buy. That said, I reached out to Infurader, so they are the company that sells this, and I informed them of the problems that I experienced. And they were like, well, let me answer your questions. I was like, I didn't ask any questions. I'm giving you feedback because there are some problems with your anemometer. I believe your anemometer, especially given the price, has potential, but this needs to be fixed. And they said, "Oh, thank you very much. With customers like you, we can do better." And they were expressing their gratitude to me, and so they said they sent the feedback that I gave to the engineers to fix the problem. So I wrote back and I said, "Hey, great, fantastic. If you get it fixed, or when you get it fixed, I'm a tech reviewer, and I would be willing to review your product if you want to send it to me, and then I'll return it if you want after I'm done reviewing it." Now, I didn't tell them I was making this video, because I didn't want to force them into feeling like, oh my God, we got to send it. They're going. I'm going to delay the release of this video a few days, just to make sure that they don't accidentally look at my web channel, because I named my channel, and see this, and then they feel compelled to send me a golden sample. I'm just hoping they'll send me another one that has, after it's been repaired, and that I'll be able to review it and see that the blade is now balanced, or the blades are balanced on the vane, and the area function works correctly. Oh, by the way, if you have an otherwise perfectly functional device, like the Infurider, except for the vane not being balanced, there is a trick to balance it. You can determine which side is heavier, and then very carefully apply like lacquer, a thin lacquer, a thin layer of a very thin layer, a little bit, or fingernail polish on the opposite blade from the one that keeps on dropping to the bottom, in just a little bit, and then let it dry and test it and see if it's balanced. If one continues to drop consistently to the bottom, then again put a little bit on the top one and keep on doing that until you get the fan, the blades to all be balanced with each other, and that will allow you to use a product. That may be the only problem with a product, is that the vane is not balanced correctly. The product may work fine other than that, which has not been the case for me. Most of the ones that I've tested have not been fine, but that is a simple trick that I learned from another reviewer to fix a vane that's imbalanced. So hopefully that'll help you if you are looking for an anemometer and you find a good one for cheap, preferably for a cheap price, because you can pay hundreds and even thousands of dollars for high quality ones. And I'm disappointed to say that some of the more expensive ones where I spent hundreds of dollars, it wasn't worth the money because it had less functions, and in some cases, except for the hot wire one, it didn't work correctly in certain cases, or it was not user friendly. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, please feel free to use the comments below to ask me questions. I'll be happy to try and fill in anything I may have forgotten today. I hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching.